All right, welcome back. I want to spend a few minutes. I want to talk about how the influence model challenges traditional approaches to sales and communication. I want to simplify that process. I want to demonstrate how the influence model can help you build rapport, lasting rapport, powerful rapport, and how we can simplify and get rid of all of the scripting and the worry about what we say and who we say it to and how we say it and when we say it, and just focus on what's actually going to make a difference to the customer, to your audience, to your opponent if you're negotiating. The things that are actually going to create results. It should be simple, and that's the most important part about influence. So what I want to do is I want to start with one preface, one caveat to all of this, and then I want to share with you 3 steps of the influence model that are relevant to our ability to get our customers, our audience to take action. And I want to share with you an example of how relevant this is in the real world, a story that you'll remember and hopefully never forget. So let's get started. The first thing that needs to be said before we get into the influence model is the idea of what we sell or what we share, what we speak, or the product or services that we offer. Everything we do is a function of selling. But let's not call it a sale. Let's broaden the perspective and let's focus on an exchange between 2 people. So you may be in customer service and you may be having a conversation with your customer. That's a sale. Regardless of the outcome, whether a product or service is exchanged, it doesn't matter. What's being exchanged is value. That's what matters right now. So take a minute, think about the role that you're in. You're watching this video, you do something professionally, at home, whatever your role is. I want you to think about how that role creates value for those around you. When you do a great job, what is it that makes you more valuable in that? When you do a horrible job, what is it that's lacking in the value creation? Who do you create value for? Not just your employer, but the people that you serve. Think about everything you do in context of value first, because that's ultimately what makes things happen. That's ultimately what creates influence between us and the audience or the people that we are interacting with. So focus on the value. See, ultimately what makes people want to buy or come back and give us more business is our ability to create value in excess of the cost, the perceived cost. And that's the exchange that we're talking about. So as you think about your role in terms of value, the first step in the influence model is reaching our customers. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, this is no different than if you're selling somebody an actual product in their office. We have usually 2 objectives. The first one is we need to break down resistance. We need to get down those walls and we need to have an opportunity to reach them to do the second thing, which is build rapport. No exchange occurs without rapport. Rapport is quite simply that moment when you forget that we're having a conversation and you're engaged, engrossed in the conversation, when you're thinking about what's being said, or when you feel like we're connecting, we're gelling, or you can finish somebody's sentences, or you just feel that natural alignment with them. Those are all great examples of rapport. We're not going to dig into and really spend a lot of time on how we build rapport outside of the fact that rapport is built as we take an active interest in our customer. It's about them. It's making them feel important. It's about making them feel heard and validated, not telling them how great you are or not assuming that they think that you're awesome. It's taking an active interest in them. Once we have that rapport, we can leverage it into the second component of the influence model. And that quite simply is discovering the needs of the customer. Now, Tony Robbins said, successful people ask better questions and therefore they get better answers. And then I would add to that, and then get better results. So our success in life is based largely on the questions that we ask. Selling, influencing, interacting, customer service, these are no different. See, most people think that you lead with your business card and your credentials and who you are, or you're a product, and assume that that's going to make the sale. But nobody cares who you are. They don't care what you offer. They don't care what you've done unless you create value for them. We're selfish. We want to know what's in it for us. What do you have to offer me? In every situation, even if it's me sharing an idea, you're interested and you're thinking everything in context of how does this help you? The moment you don't see this helping you, you're tuning out and you're focusing on something else. So what's in it for them? Let's not lead with why our product is great or what's good about us. Telling is not selling. Question-based selling is how we sell today. It's instead of saying, here's my product and here's why I think it should work for you, instead we say, what are you looking for? What's incredibly valuable for you? What do you need? What do you want? And then how do I adapt? How do I mold or position my product or service to meet your needs? See, they have so many options today that somebody's going to do that. Somebody's going to create value for that. And the example I share with you in a few minutes is going to give you a perfect example of that. So figure out some power questions, 4 or 5 questions that you can ask at any point to solicit the greatest, the deepest, the most important and pressing needs of your customer. Think of the last time you bought a car or a camera. Did you read the entire manual before you bought it? Of course you didn't. All you cared about were the salient points, the most important features that were part of your decision. That's what was important to you. So if your sales rep was going off on a tangent about what frequency the Bluetooth worked on, you'd lose your attention. You wouldn't care. You'd probably lose interest. But if you focused on exactly what it was, the deal points that made sense to you, you'd have your undivided attention. So a few questions that I love to ask. Are you the person responsible for this decision? What's going incredibly well for you right now? If you could change anything, what would it be? What is it that you're looking for? As you make this decision, what's the most important thing for you? See, these are all questions that are open-ended, that get you to the core strategy and needs of your audience. Let them talk. Never interrupt your customers. Unless they're going to derail you from meeting a timeline, never ever interrupt your customers. The moment that they start talking and sharing and confiding in you is when you have powerful rapport. And so you leverage that rapport. Use it to your advantage. They will share with you what their needs are. And the next step is so simple. If you've done an effective job of being in the discovery mode, asking and looking for their needs, all we do now is we figure out how to adapt and piggyback and mold our product or service to meet those needs. If you're negotiating, don't come out guns blazing. It's not the most abrasive and powerful person that wins a negotiation. The person that wins a negotiation is the one that understands the needs of his opponent and is able to meet those needs. If you want to win an argument, ask questions. Understand what your person is looking for, and then come to a common ground that meets those needs to your best advantage. One of the exercises that I do with all of my clients is I have them write down 5 power questions and 5 value statements. And I have them practice stringing those together. So they'll ask the customer a question, they'll get a response, and then they'll figure out how to tie one of those 5 value statements to that specific need. See, as they're congruent, as they make sense, it becomes conversational. The influence model and the sales process is so simple. Throw out the scripts, throw out the rehearsed anything, and break it down to get in rapport, discover their needs, and then figure out how to adapt, mold, and build your product to meet those needs. If you can accomplish those 3 things, the closing process, the customer satisfaction is natural. It happens by itself. The problem is we get so focused on what we think they want that we forget to listen to what they really need and want. One of my favorite examples of this is, let's go back in time 16 years. Think of the last time you went to Blockbuster Video and rented a movie. It's Friday night. You probably drove 20 minutes to get to Blockbuster. You go to the new release aisle and you see 30 copies of the same video and they're all gone. So you start walking up and down the aisles trying to find your movie. You spend like an hour at Blockbuster Video. You find a video that you've seen, but it's all you could find. You go home, you put it in your VHS player or your DVD player, and you watch a movie. That was our life 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So in the year 2000, Blockbuster Video was introduced to a company called Netflix. And they had an opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million. Now today, just for some context, Netflix today is worth about $32 billion. So in 2000, Blockbuster had an opportunity again for $50 million. And what they said is that model doesn't meet the needs of our customer. So what was that model? Well, instead of having to drive to Blockbuster Video, walk down an aisle and hope that your video was still there, you could just go online, order the movie, it would show up in your mailbox. You could keep it for as long as you wanted, and then you take 10 steps outside, put it back in the mailbox, and send it back when you're done. Couldn't imagine that being in the best needs of the best interest of our customers. Then Netflix came out with this other model where, you know what, you didn't even need to leave your house anymore. You could go sit on your couch and you could download a movie online and stream it without even stepping outside. But Blockbuster said, no way, that's not our customer. Our customers don't want that. Our customers like showing up, waiting in line, spending $10 in late fees and renting movies. So they passed. Well, in 2008, Blockbuster Video filed bankruptcy. And this is the perfect example of missing the customer needs. At some point, they felt like they knew what their customer wanted, and they stopped asking. This is a great example of disruptive technology. It's one of my favorite topics because Netflix came in and they created more value. But the way that they created more value is they asked better questions. They focused on what their customers were looking for. They focused on where's the market going and how do we create value in this space? How do we disrupt this space? It's happening all around us. And the people that are winning, the people that are disrupting, are the ones that are asking better questions. Never stop listening to your customers. Never stop asking great questions. Never lose that rapport with your audience. Always understand what they're looking for and what's going to make you valuable. If you can focus on them, being valuable to them, meeting their needs, and asking great questions, you will always have an opportunity to adapt and create incredible value for them.